They say that behind every mother's eyes, there lies a world of sacrifice, of untold pain, and of love so deep it defies reason. But what happens when destiny twists that love into tragedy? Today, you will hear one of the most unfortunate and unforgettable stories from the heart of Africa, a tale of a mother, her child, and the heavy price of secrets. Stay with me, because this story will break your heart, but it will also open your soul. Long ago, in a small village nestled between the rolling hills of West Africa, there lived a young woman named Adana. She was known throughout the village not only for her beauty, but for her kindness. She carried within her the warmth of the sun, always helping the elderly, comforting the children, and singing songs that carried hope like the rustle of the palm trees in the evening breeze. But Adana carried a secret. She was in love with a man her family and the elders had forbidden her to marry. His name was Chike, a hunter from a rival clan. Their families had been enemies for generations, torn apart by land disputes and pride. But as fate often weaves her cruelest designs, Adana and Chike's hearts had found each other. Their love was pure, their connection undeniable, and yet, in the eyes of tradition, it was a sin. When Adana discovered she was with child, she was overwhelmed with both joy and fear. She knew that if the elders found out, both she and Chike would be punished severely, perhaps even cast out from their clans. And so she chose silence. She carried her pregnancy in secrecy, praying that when the baby came, love would somehow overcome the weight of hatred. Months later, under the shadow of a great storm, Adana gave birth to a baby boy. His cry pierced the night like a promise, fragile and full of life. She named him Obinna, meaning father's heart, though the father himself could not claim him publicly. Adana raised Obinna alone, shielding him from questions, protecting him from whispers. But the truth has a way of breaking through silence. When Obinna turned 5, the resemblance to his father was undeniable. His eyes held the same fire, his smile carried the same charm. Villagers began to murmur, connecting the child to Chike. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, the secret finally slipped into the wrong ears. The elders summoned Adana to the village square. The drums beat with judgment, the air thick with disapproval. Standing in the center, clutching her son's hand, Adana faced the accusations. "Who is the father of this child?" the oldest elder demanded, his voice like thunder rolling across the earth. Adana's heart pounded. To tell the truth would condemn Chike. To lie would condemn herself. She looked down at Obinna, his innocent eyes searching hers for comfort. With trembling lips, she whispered, "He has no father. Only me." The village erupted with anger. They called her a liar, a woman without honor. Shame was cast upon her name. And yet, Adana bore it all in silence, for the sake of the man she loved and the child she protected. But destiny was not done with her suffering. Years passed. Obinna grew into a strong, curious boy, loved by some, mocked by others for being fatherless. He often asked his mother about his origins, but Adana only said, "Your story will be told when the time is right." One fateful day, a hunting competition was announced in the village. Young men would compete to prove their strength and bravery. Among them stood Obinna, now a teenager, his spirit eager to prove himself. Unknown to him, Chike too was among the hunters, now older but still carrying the fire in his veins. When the competition began, fate once again played her cruel hand. Obinna and Chike were paired against each other in the final round. The crowd roared with excitement as the two fought with skill and determination. Blow after blow, arrow after arrow, until at last, Chike looked into the boy's eyes and froze. Those eyes, they were his own. The truth he had been denied for years stood before him, alive, breathing, fighting. His hands trembled, his heart raced. He could not bring himself to harm his son. But Obinna, unaware of their bond, struck his final blow, and Chike fell to the ground. Gasps filled the air. The elders rushed forward. And as Chike lay there, bloodied but breathing, he whispered the words that would shatter the village. The truth struck like lightning. The secret that Adana had carried for so many years was finally revealed. The crowd turned on her, accusing her of betrayal, of bringing shame upon their traditions. Obinna stood frozen, the world around him collapsing. He looked at his mother, tears streaming down his face. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell him?" he cried. Adana, broken and trembling, whispered back, "Because love is sometimes the greatest curse and the greatest gift." The elders, furious at the betrayal of tradition, demanded punishment. They decreed that Obinna must leave the village, cast away for being the son of forbidden love. Adana begged, she wept, she even offered her life in exchange. But the laws of the clan were merciless. On the night before his exile, Obinna sat with his mother under the great baobab tree. She held him close, her tears soaking into his skin. "Wherever you go, remember this," she whispered. "You are not cursed. You are born of love. Carry that love with pride, even when the world rejects you." The next morning, Obinna walked away from the only home he had ever known. Chaik, too weak to follow, watched from afar, regret tearing at his heart. Adana collapsed to the ground, her cries echoing through the hills. The boy was gone. The man she loved was broken. And she was left with nothing but the memory of a love that had destroyed everything and yet given her the greatest gift, her son. Crescent Moon Conclusion. This was the unfortunate story of Adana, the mother whose silence protected love but shattered destiny. It is a reminder that secrets, no matter how noble, carry consequences heavier than chains. It is a tale of forbidden love, of sacrifice, and of the unshakable bond between a mother and her child. And as this story passes from one generation to the next, it asks us all one haunting question. Backhand index pointing right, how much would you sacrifice for love? And is silence ever worth the price of truth?